Hey there friends, Nibs again. Out here in the garage tonight, doing a little bit of goofing around, and I want to apologize to everybody. I promised months ago that I was going to do this little tutorial for you guys, and I'm just now finally getting around to it. I finally dug out this zero recoil mount and getting ready to mount it up on another Springer, and I wanted to show you guys how I did the shim job. I showed you, I did a little video before where I was talking about it, but now I'm actually going to show you how to do it in the tabletop view here. But what I'm talking about here is I got one of my Springers here that actually has this. So this is the zero recoil mount here. It mounts up on the dovetail for the Springer. You can get these actually with a Picatinny style mount as well. But this one, the ones I've been getting have the 11 millimeter 3/8 inch dovetail size mount. But what this does is when you shoot a Springer, it actually has two recoil impulses. First one's going backwards, and then when the piston hits in the front, it'll jerk the rifle forward, and that secondary impulse jerking the rifle forward, most scopes are not built to take that kind of abuse, and it will damage even very nice expensive scopes. So you got to be very careful when you mount a scope up on a Springer that it's either rated for a Magnum Springer, they call it, or use one of these mounts here. Now Diana used to have a zero recoil mount that was basically, this one's a copy of that, or a clone or whatever you want to call it, but they discontinued that years ago, and when you do find them, you're going to pay a premium for them. But there is this company, Mizu Gaiwa, on Amazon. If you just search for zero recoil mount, or better yet, look in my Amazon storefront, you'll find those. These are only like 15 bucks, I think. Very inexpensive, and you can mount them up on any Springer. They have, like I said, with 11 millimeter dovetails and with the Picatinny rails. So you, whatever gun you want to mount them on, most Springers are a dovetail, but some do have pick rails to mount a scope on. So what happens is when you first shoot, the gun's going to start recoiling backwards. This is going to slide, the scope's going to slide forward, and then when the reverse pulse happens, this will be in, and I've actually captured this on slow motion, it's really pretty cool. This will be in mid-spring, so when this springs forward, the scope's not going to be hard fastened against the mount, and it's going to, this will be in mid-spring, so it won't put that reverse impulse into the action of the scope. So it's worked pretty well so far. I haven't had any scopes get damaged, and I have, so that's, I believe, is my if I'm remembering right, this is my 5th one of these mounts. So I have 4 of them already mounted up on Springer guns, and I've been shooting them a lot, and the scopes are holding up pretty well. So anyway, we're going to break this guy out. I'm going to bring you up here to the tabletop. Get that started first. I'll bring you up here to the tabletop, and we'll take it apart. The only thing you're going to need besides the mount itself is a soda can, and I've already cut out the little strips, but you basically cut a section out of the middle of the soda can carefully. Be careful with this, because this does have sharp edges, and I just used a pair of standard scissors. Cuts it very easily, but you want about a 1/4 inch wide strip, maybe about 3 inches long. That's actually longer than you really need, and we'll trim it off once I get it installed into the mount. But let's take it up top here, and we'll show you what to do. Just going to need a couple of Allen wrenches besides that. I can't remember if they come with them or not, but I think they might. Yeah, it does. Okay. So comes packed like this. These mounts will allow you to mount a 30 millimeter. Just make sure I got you guys centered here. That's better. So this will actually allow you to mount a 30 millimeter scope, or it does come with, in just about every one I've done, I use these adapters that will adapt from the 30 millimeter down to a 1-inch tube scope. So there's the, actually we'll use all three of those during this procedure here. So when you get this out of the box, you can actually wiggle it quite a bit, and I have actually done some testing with mine. I actually had I can't remember. I actually did test this at the range. I had two identical scopes. One was mounted in an unshimmed unit, and the other one was mounted up in a shimmed mount, and it definitely tightened the group up from the Springer. It was the same gun, same scope, just a different mount with the shims in it, and it tightened the group up by a considerable amount. It was a couple of months ago, so I don't remember exactly how much, but so basically what we need to do is we need to take this, just only have to do one ring for now. We got to take the top off because there's some screws down inside here that we have to these do come with Loctite on them, so that really nice feature. So you don't have to worry about doing that for yourself. If you don't feel like going through this, it still is a very good product, and you can mount it up, but just keep in mind that your groups won't be you know, maybe dime size. They might be quarter size, or a little bit bigger than quarter size at like 20 or 25 yards. But doing this mod will, because when you put this on, there's actually a little registration pin up here in the front that goes into a little divot back there. So that's going to keep the front centered really well, but this back end has just a little bit of play, so that can introduce, you know, a half MOA or an MOA worth of error in each one of your shots, depending on how that lands in the back here. So these shims are going to take up a lot of that play. There's still a little bit, and you don't want it to be too tight, or else you won't get the recoil action. So now you take the smallest Allen wrench that actually comes with it, and there's two set screws down inside this end, and I like to do it from this end where the spring is, but you loosen those set screws and that's going to pop out. Now we're going to take this guy out and move it off to the side, and take the spring out and set it off to the side. Now we're going to be able to take this piece right out, and what I like to do is take the soda can strip and just, and don't run your fingers down it because you'll cut your fingers, but just press this down its length just to kind of get it started to form around the rod there. You just get somewhat of a semicircle with each one of them. Don't need to be too doesn't need to be perfect, because it will squeeze down in there once you push the rods back into place. So now what I like to do at this point, once I've got them semi-formed, is let's see, where is my, there it is, just a little tiny bit of lubricant on there. I like this Super Lube silicone oil. just a little bit to keep it keep things moving here. Now you take each one of these and again, be very careful with this soda can metal. It is very sharp, can be very sharp. I have cut my fingers. So I don't think I got it rounded quite enough, but it's fighting me going in. That's almost all the way in there, but it's not quite. Figures all the ones I've done before did not give me any heartaches. Make sure keep you guys in. Ugh. All right, now it's gonna. Get my shape back again here. Now if you run your finger just side to side, not lengthways on this thing, you should be fine to form around this metal rod here, but you don't want to run your fingers lengthways down there. All right, let's see if we can get that guy in there now. Like I said, I've done 4 of these already, and this is the first one that's given me. So there's that one through there. Now let's and that one may have been just a little bit too wide. That may be the problem, but so that's really all you want to do. And then got a little tiny pair of snips here, and we're going to go ahead and snip those off pretty much even. It don't need to be perfect, but so actually I think it was this end the spring was in, right? Am I right? Am I wrong? Hold on a second. So there's a pocket with a deep end here and a pocket with a shallow end, and the shallow end is where you want this little aligning pin to line back up on your, so you want the shallow divot to be where the aligning pin is. So now just got to give that a little press and start sliding that guy back in, and just kind of hold this end to make sure they don't slide out while you're pushing them in. And so now we've got it all the way in. There's a little bit sticking out this end and a little bit sticking out this end. That's perfectly fine. They should stay in place. And so now all we need to do is put the spring back in there. This little aligning pin for the spring goes into the spring, and so when you put this back, you want these rods to be even with this end over here, and then you take your small Allen wrench again, and you can feel when there's actually a groove on those rods, and you can feel when that set screw kind of lands in that rod. So now once that's tight, you can just kind of move it back and forth, and It doesn't move nearly as free as it did before, but it still has enough spring and give that you're gonna have that recoil effect for your scope. And there's almost no movement at all, if any movement at all. And you can see it is coming back and resetting. But before there was side to side movement, like, you know, a couple of thousandths, 10 thousandths maybe. Now, if there is movement, I can't feel it, and it still springs like it should. Now you can mount this up on your gun. I had some people trying to tell me that the spring should be in the front and the spring should be in the back. Well, everything that I've seen, there's a couple different manufacturers that make these, and even Diana said the spring should go in the back, because what happens first is you first start to get the normal recoil impulse, and that's going to actually pull a gun backwards, so you're going to have it springing backwards. Then when the piston slams forward, it's going to be in mid recoil like that, and then it's going to pull back forward. But this will be in kind of mid stroke, so that impulse won't be input into the scope and damage the scope. So, but there you go. That will save your scope. I have these mounts done with several different scopes. The one we were looking at on this Springer here was a little CV Life LPVO, but I really like, so there's two scopes that I am absolutely thrilled with as far as cheapo Springer scopes, and one of them is the CV Life 3 to 9 by 40 AO, and the other one is a new one that I just recently found. It's called the Orc Air 3 to 9 by 40 AO. Both of those are 1-inch tubes, and they are just fantastic air rifle scopes. They have the adjustable objective. They'll go all the way down to like 5 yards, and they fit right in this mount nice. So I'll bring you back over and we'll finish it up. So anyway, there you guys go. That is the how you shim up this scope mount, and it is a little bit stiff right now, but it will loosen up and break in and really start to slide pretty nice once you get it on the gun and get it moving around a little bit. But it'll save your scope. This will save your scope. I really like the Hammers scopes. I've got the Hammers 4 to 12 by 40 AO and 3 to 9 by 40 AO that are rated for Springers, but they're $80, $100. You can take a $30 Orc Air or CV Life scope and $15 for this, and basically have exactly the same thing on half the price, or you know, pretty close to it anyway. So I told you guys I'd get it done. Sorry it took me so long to actually do it. Again, I can only say be careful with the metal from the beer can or the soda can that you use, because it is sharp, and I just use these sparkling water soda cans, but any aluminum can of, you know, beverage thickness these days will work just fine for that. So go ahead and give it a try. If you have any questions, my email address is down below. Drop me a line and we can discuss it further. But hope you guys liked the video. Till next time, have a great day.